The second quarter developed really much in line with what we predicted. We see a softer market in the sense that our operator customers are rolling out networks a bit slower, but we're also seeing the inventory cycle, or that they are adjusting their inventory levels, and that's why we see a reduced sales for our networks part, just like you highlighted. But we also see that the front runner markets, where we have seen the slowdown, is also compensated by very fast rollout in a couple of new contracts, including in India, where they're now building what I would say the most modern digital infrastructure in the world, at least outside of China. And that's something where we have established a very strong position, and we continue to develop favorably and look very positively on India going forward.
Börje, there seem to be a couple of factors at play here in the environment. One, the intention to spend by some of the big telecoms companies, and whether that demand is fading given the higher credit costs and the very difficult environment we're facing. The other point, stepped up competition, and we were talking about Huawei stepping out of the market a number of years ago, but it feels as though the competition hasn't lessened. Just talk us through a couple of these factors.
Yeah, what we see, I think we need to start in what's actually driving the fundamental demand for networks, and it's really the traffic growth. And the traffic growth we see continuing. We see that we will have about 1.5 billion subscribers on 5G by the end of this year. That will increase by 3x over the next 5 years. We also see that the traffic growth that the consumers are using continue to grow very strongly. And we start to see new use cases, fixed wireless access, adding new traffic to the network, but we're also seeing enterprise applications. So overall, the strong traffic growth continues, and ultimately that is going to drive investments in the network, because you will need capacity in the networks. And sometimes, it's fair to say that when a regular highway gets congested, you see it. When the digital highway gets congested, you don't see it, but you experience it at slower speeds, harder to connect, etc. So the network investments will need to come back, and we see, based on historic experiences from similar periods in the past, that it takes a few quarters. So by the end of this year and into next year, the market ought to recover, just to kind of deal with this traffic growth. But you're also right, highlighted another area. We are in a very competitive industry. We compete with a number of competitors in the West and East, and that's something that we continue to do. And for us, it's the investments in technology leadership that allows us to offer solutions to customers that addresses their needs. So the only way for us to add value to the market going forward is to continue to invest in technology leadership.